Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Lion's Den podcast. This is season 3, episode 1. We're starting off brand new season, new hopes, new dreams, new illusions. I'm here with my boys, Louis and Jose. Gary and Javier couldn't make it today. Hopefully, he'll be here next time with us. But we're here to talk about Leon, everything in English, and Liga MX in English. Guys, how are we doing? It's been a while.
Doing well, getting pretty anxious to see some game action, whether it be Campeones de Campeones this coming weekend or the regular season. I know the Liga MX has one of the shorter off seasons in all of sports, but it still feels like an eternity.
Jose, you're muted. Technical difficulties.
We're just a little rusty. We're a little rusty. It happens, you know. We forget to push the unmute. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's been like what you said the last time we live stream was on May
10th.
Is he muted?
Yeah.
Yes, to recap our bitter loss against Toluca.
No, let's not.
Let's not talk about that. Yeah, but it's been an interesting off season. We've had a lot of good signings, a lot of interesting departures. I don't know if I would say I was expecting some of the off season signings or departures, except for maybe Ormeño, but we'll get into that in just a bit. But the big news, the big topic today, fresh in everyone's mind, is the stadium acquisition by Grupo Pachuca. They acquired the Estadio León, located right in the center of León, right in the heart of León. What does this say to you guys? Are we remodeling? What are we doing here with the acquisition of the stadium?
Well, I think in the short term, what it is peace of mind that we're not gonna go through the same baloney, the same gobbledygook that we did before with not being able to play in the only stadium suitable for Liga MX football in the city of León for any dumb reasons. In the short term, that's what it says to me. In the long term, we still it remains to be seen what this really means. Are they just planning on making it another business transaction, selling it back to the municipio once the new stadium is ready, or some other plan? We don't really know. But as long as Grupo Pachuca remains the owner of the team, that's the other thing in this. As long as Grupo Pachuca remains the owner of the team, that means that we will be able to use our own stadium without any funny business. That's what it means to me. And that was probably bigger than anything that happened on the field, probably the biggest cause of stress for me over the last couple of years, the couple instances where are we going to be able to use our stadium? Are they going to be able to keep the team in the city if they don't have rights to use their own stadium? That was a big cause of stress for me, and at least in the short term, we don't have to worry about that. So those are my first impressions.
Yeah, I think they did this because they didn't want to deal with the fact that all these, according to the law, Cermeño was the owner of the stadium. So they didn't want to deal with the fact that, we don't have a stadium. And plus, I think it was because of the pandemic, the construction of the new stadium has been set back. So this buys them time to hopefully get that sorted out. I'm not sure, has the stone, at least the first stone, been placed? Has the construction began?
No, not to my knowledge.
No. All right.
They were still a couple weeks ago, some articles came out that some orders had been tracked and placed for building materials and some trámites for permits and stuff. I think a lot of that got put on hold because of the pandemic. I think we knew that already. But and people took that to mean that progress is being made. But I mean, it's still going to be a few years out. So it's nice to know that the stadium and the ownership group of the stadium and their team are one and the same right now. It's just funny to me how things went down, because when the last time the drama came to a head. They're like, no hay nada que hablar con Cermeño. We're not going to sit down and talk to Cermeño. Like, there's just nothing to talk about. We're not going to meet with him. We don't want anything to do with him. And then de un día para el otro, the stadium is purchased by Grupo Pachuca. Like, well, come on.
I mean,
that's just.
They've been saying that for years, though. Like since Grupo Pachuca acquired Leon, in 2010, Cermeño's been fighting for the stadium since then, and then just been fighting, and then they had never wanted to talk to him. But yeah, it just came as a surprise. Like if you told me that, Grupo Pachuca was gonna acquire the stadium today, I wouldn't believe you because there were no signs of it. Like
that's the thing.
It came out of nowhere.
Like, how many times do they insist there's nothing that this would never happen because they would have to talk to Cermeño and they have no interest in doing that, and obviously they did. So it's like, why can't they be a little bit more transparent? I understand this is how they work. This is how they operate with very little transparency. That's pretty common, I suppose, in all professional sports. But come on, like, obviously they sat down and talked to him. And obviously it wasn't that long of a conversation because, like, from one day to the next, the stadium is owned by Grupo Pachuca.
Well, didn't they have I think it was a 1-year contract from last year when we got kicked out of our own stadium. And I think they rented it for 1 year, and I think that's coming up. So I'm pretty sure they had to sit down and reevaluate, or at least talk about the terms of a new contract.
They probably have to, but if they acquired the stadium, I don't think they have to anymore, right?
Well, yeah, they don't have to anymore. But
no, not anymore.
That's how they came together.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a moot point. To me, all this means to me really is peace of mind. Again, like, this is more important to me than the new stadium. I want a new stadium as much as everybody else. But it's more important to me that they can continue playing in the one they already have without issue, and that's what this means to me.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
Do you think this is going? How long do you think this is going to delay the new stadium though? Because like,
I think it'll be at least 5 years.
5 more years.
Well, I mean, I think the stadium will take at least another 3 to 4 years minimum to build. I don't think this particular transaction has any bearing on that one way or another. I think. My guess would be some people were speculating this as well on Twitter and such, that the ultimate plan is probably to sell back the stadium to the city once the new stadium is built. But we'll see.
What do you guys think about remodeling this stadium, or I was thinking just demolishing the stadium and building a new one right where it's at, because that's a perfect location. If you look at the stadium, it's perfectly located. Whereas the new one would be, I think, like outside of the city, and you'd have to drive to get there.
Well, here's my take on that as someone who spends a lot of time in that area. Unless they're planning on buying the Plaza Stadium and like demolishing it, and also demolishing the Domo de la Feria and like cutting into some of the fairgrounds, they can't do what they intend to do with the new stadium, which is to build a whole ciudad de fútbol, with a hospital and a museum and like a centro de alto rendimiento and all of that kind of stuff. They would not be able to do that. There's just no space for it. I mean, there's barely space for a 21st century stadium there as it is. As you guys both well know, having been there, the stadium has no concourse. Like, there are no concession stands. There are no, like, anything that you would expect out of a 21st century stadium. Our stadium doesn't have, because there's barely enough room for the tribuna, Yeah. So, I mean, unless they're planning on commandeering all of the rest of the surrounding land, which is really hard because the fairgrounds are right there and the feria, I mean, they were desperate enough to have a feria in a pandemic that they made one in the summer. Like, this is how much the feria is important to the people of León. I think it's pretty stupid. That's a topic for another podcast. But like, I mean, they'd have to acquire a lot more of the land that's around there. And I just don't think. I think it's more feasible to build it a little bit farther out so they can do everything they want with it. Have a Santos Laguna type of situation with their stadium. I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, it's just gonna be interesting when the new stadium is built. What's gonna happen to that one? Are they gonna rent it out to another team? Is I don't know. But
I don't know.
But we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, we have a comment in the chat. Ángel Jonathan, fuga para Los Ángeles, arriba la fiera.
Well, Jose and I'll see you there, Ángel.
Yeah,
Jonathan. Carlos, I don't know, has some kind of something came up and he won't be joining us.
Some
but,
came up. Yeah, I won't be able to attend, but I'll be there in spirit. And if we win, it'll just listen. Last time we were there, it was me, Louis, and Jose. So if we win on Sunday, that means I'm the bad luck charm. And if we lose, that means we need Javier to also join us.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't there last time, and he won't be here this time either. So.
Yeah,
right.
I was dreaming of this big reunion, but we'll have to wait for the next one.
Yeah, next time. Moving on, off-season signings. We have some pretty big names that came to Leon. Like I said, I didn't expect any of these names to make it to Leon except Ormeño, because he was the one that was rumored late last season. But we picked up Omar Fernandez, Elias Hernandez, Vázquez Mellado, and we all obviously had the return of Ramiro Gonzalez. Best off-season signing, guys. What do you guys think? Best off-season signing?
I mean, the easy answer is Ormeño. I think that's what a lot of people would say. He's the shiniest new toy, the biggest name, I would say,
right.
among those. I don't know, though. I think sneakily, I think Omar Fernandez could end up being the steal out of that entire haul, though.
True.
He is an under the radar kind of guy. People haven't really seen what he can do as much as Ormeño. He doesn't have as many goals to his name, of course, but I've liked his game ever since he scared the daylights out of us in that leg one of the quarterfinal in the Campeonato tournament. I liked his game ever since then. Well, I've liked his game since before that. I think he's sneaky good, and I think, man, adding both him and bringing back Elias Hernandez, who obviously is not the same Elias Hernandez that left Leon a few years ago. He's older. He's lost some pace in a game that depends heavily on pace. But to bring two guys in like that on the wings, to add that kind of depth to the wings, I think is, in addition to Ormeño, that's a big haul. That's an important haul. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Holland makes all of this work and fit together in the best combination of players up in the front 3 or 4, however he wants to play, because that's going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be, we'll see how it goes, because on the right wing, we kind of got, I mean, at least I think it's still the same. I think we'll find. I just gotta see how Elias is, because we don't really see the preseason games air, so we don't know how he's doing. But once we see him playing on Jornada Uno, we'll see what he's about. I don't. As far as I remember, I don't think in the preseason games he got in the score sheet. Did he?
No.
Who?
Elias
Omar Fernandez? Oh, Elias. No.
Omar Fernandez did, but I don't think Elias did. So
yeah, Elias didn't.
I think we're, at least from now, I think the right one is debilitated now. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best off seasons we've had in a long time, because we're bringing in really good quality players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember we had that like 2, 3, 4 seasons where we brought in like no-name South American players just to fill in space, just to fill in the roster. Yep. And it was such a bad time, and we were like mid to last place table, and now we're bringing in some pretty big names. I mean, Santiago Ormeño, that's
not used to.
That's a quality striker.
Yeah.
Omar Fernandez, I mean, that's Puebla's whole attack. That's the reason they probably got into.
For me, that's
third place.
That is a gem. Yes.
Well, for me, it's just so out of the ordinary, having followed the recent history of this team, que los nombres son dados lleguen. Like, these are the names that people were rumoring about. People were mentioning these and like, oh yeah, right, like those guys are coming. And then, Ormeño was the one who most people mentioned, but also Omar Fernandez. Like, people were talking about him a little bit too. And I was like, well, there's no way we can get both of them. We can get maybe one or the other, but there's no way we can get both.
Yeah.
And in one fell swoop, pretty much, we take away arguably the 2 most important players to Puebla's resurgence, which sucks for their fans. I mean, they've been waiting for such a long time to have a relevant team, and the one time they do, what happens? Their players become sought after, and we get arguably the two best ones. I mean, there were other players involved in that resurgence, but two of the best ones. That's pretty exciting. And Elias coming back. I mean, his return has been rumored for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's no way we can get those two guys and also Elias. But they all end up here, and I think it's exciting times. It's a really good offseason. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we also get back Ramiro Gonzalez, who nobody really talks about because he's more under the radar, but he had a pretty decent season at
couple seasons, no?
San Luis. Yeah, I think he was there for a year.
Yeah.
He scored a few headers. We talked about that on the pod quite a bit. But I mean, he's under the radar, but he's a defender that I think we're going to need, and he's going to be very important to our lineup.
Yeah, I mean, his defending might not be the best, but I think at least for center backs, I don't remember. Like, I don't think center backs really had that many goals in La Era Breeze.
Yeah,
and he had quite a few then for a center back. So we're gonna need some of those when the games get tough and the opponents just park the bus.
I remember a couple of cheapy tap-ins by Tecillo, but Tecillo's not your typical center back. He gets all over the place.
He's not going to be heading in the goals. He's not going to be an aerial threat.
And of course, Barreiro opened his account against Toluca this past season in regular season. But you're right. So we haven't, like, Ramiro didn't have his closest thing to a goal was that own goal against Toluca in the quarterfinals in Clausura 2019. He was the last Leon player to touch it, and then it came off of I can't remember which Tijuana player. But that was the closest thing he had to a goal in Leon, and then he had it 5 against when he was with San Luis. I have high hopes for him. He's definitely under the radar, and people are saying, well, they shored up the attack really well, but they didn't get any defenders. And well, we got Ramiro back, and I think he's a better player now than he was when he left us. That's what I'm hoping to see from him. I think he's a little more adapted to the Mexican game. And he's still pretty young. He's only 31, maybe. I think he's 31. That's pretty young for center back. Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting better things for him. Just like Barreiro was, as a young player, pretty new to this league. He was pretty lackluster, and then he comes into Leon, and now he's a key piece in our back line. So I'm hoping the same for Ramiro. I expect maybe bigger things from him than others would.
Yeah. And he adds more of an aerial threat as well.
Exactly. Something we lack on that Breeze, because besides if it was Gigliotti, I don't think anyone else really scored goals from a header. Like maybe one in a blue moon, but that wasn't a constant. And that's something I think we could have improved on before, and now with the players that are coming in, we have two different players. We have direct players and players like Elias that are really good crossers, and Ramiro or Gigliotti can take advantage of those crosses.
Yeah, absolutely. We picked up some really good players, but we also let go of some good, potentially good players, guys. How do we feel about Jairo Moreno and Joe Campbell leaving? Listen, if when they're in their zone and when they're playing at a high level, they're all-stars, undoubtedly all-stars. But they've been super inconsistent. So I think I understand why we let them go. It's probably best for them to go out on loan to another team and try to find their best version of themselves again. But how do we feel about that? How do we feel about Jairo going to Pachuca and Campbell going to Monterrey?
I mean, I think they're two different stories. So Jairo, he's young. I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure for me, since his injury, he only had one bad season, and that was because he was coming back from an injury. And so, I mean, that's completely normal. But Campbell, I don't think he had like a few sparks here and there, but he ended up having the same issue that he had at his previous clubs, and why he was just pretty much going through every club you can think of in Europe. He was never had a like constant starting role, and here it was the same. And I don't think we ever got, to be honest, except for the Campeonato, yeah, obviously. But I think it was a good choice to let him go, because I don't think we got what we needed from him. But yes, he was good as a sub, but sometimes we don't need subs. When the other guys aren't showing up, we need someone that can step up in a starting role, week in, week out. And Jairo, I mean, all I can think of that maybe they let him go because there was a possibility that an offer from Europe could come on Pachuca, but I don't know why Pachuca and why not here. But that's all I can think of. But yeah.
Well, I think the Jairo departure hurts more.
Yeah.
Because as you say, Carlos, when he was in form and on his game, which we saw more of than we ever saw with Campbell, I would say, and he was also a revelation at left back. But I think that's part of it, his position. I know you guys are pretty high on Osvi, and he still doesn't convince me. He does not convince me. But the opinion of him, obviously he's a seleccionado now, and he's still young, and he's kind of taken over that position. I think that's part of it. I still need to see more from him to say that that's a good move, that you can afford to part with Jairo when you have Osvi. But I think that's got to be on the minds of multiple people within the franchise, because Osvi's kind of coming into his own. And if Jairo's not going to be a regular starter, maybe it's better he go out on loan. It's easy to forget also how little he's been able to be involved really in the last couple of seasons due to injury. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he's injured again now. He's not going to start the season healthy for Pachuca. He might not. I mean, who knows what a factor he can even really be for them this season. So that's another thing to consider. I mean, if he comes back strong and helps them to a playoff run, I'll eat my words. But right now, that doesn't feel like much of a loss. In general, I think he had more of an impact. In that sense, it's more of a loss because he had more of an impact, consistent impact, than Campbell ever did. So in that sense, it is unfortunate to see him go. But, I mean, especially since it's only loans, and especially because Jairo is hurt, and especially because I don't know if Campbell is ever going to find it. Campbell's kind of a finished product, I feel like. He's 29. I don't think he's... I think he kind of is what he's going to be in this league. And I could see him falling out of favor pretty quickly on a stacked Monterrey squad and not even getting minutes as a sub. Like, he's got to... I mean, maybe the fact that there's so much competition, even for a substitute role there, will flip a switch on in him, but I could just as easily see him falling completely out of favor with Aguirre and just not being a factor there and being out of the league by next season. So these are not it's sad to see these guys go because you saw how talented they are and the potential they have, and at times what they contributed. But at the same time, I'm more excited about the guys coming in than I am concerned about the guys going out in the cases of these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mentioned the injury of Jairo, I mean, I don't want to think it's something like that, but what if the injury is more than just a simple injury? What if it's something that, that's like, maybe that's why he left, because maybe it's something that that's hard to fix. Maybe that's why they thought maybe he's probably not gonna play here. I don't know, or just let him go to Pachuca and heal up over there. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just think there's a greater reason why he left, because he was at one point he was thought of as our first export to Europe.
Yeah.
So so I don't know. I just feel there was something fishy there that happened, but we
I
lost a
mean,
lot.
I
Yeah,
do believe that he's hurt. I think he is hurt, but I don't know. I think it mostly has to do with every year the limit on extranjeros goes down more. So you have to think about at what positions are you strongest with national players? And I think in the eyes of the squad, reinforced by Osby's call-up to the Gold Cup roster for Mexico, I think they think left back is pretty well covered by a national player, which makes Jairo expendable, who plays the same position. It'd be nice to have depth there, but just the rules of the league aren't really allowing for that to be the case right now. That's my hypothesis on the situation. You could be right. You could be right that there's just something fishy going on there, that maybe his camp didn't want him to be there anymore. Pachuca might offer him more playing time when he's healthy, but who knows? I mean, that's something we probably won't know until the second half of the season, because I don't think he's coming back before then.
Well, let's think about it. We have Osby as left back, but we can also use Tecillo there.
Tecillo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we have
Enough.
2 players. Yeah, we have enough for that position. And when you think about the center back role, we also have Pedro Hernandez, who was one of the players who was coming up under Nacho Ambriz. He looked very good, in my opinion. And we also have the return of Ramiro Gonzalez. So I think every position is well covered right now. Even the right back position. I mean, we have Avion and Buron, who doesn't get a lot of playing time, but he's one of those players that, que cumple, right? So
and
I think
Mosquera can also play on the right.
There you go, Mosquera. So I don't know. I maybe Jairo really didn't have a cupo in Leon anymore, because we have all these offensive threats. Jairo's always injured. He's probably not going to be playing a lot. So it was probably best to just send him over to Pachuca, not lose him to another team or to another
ownership group.
Yeah. But keep him within the grupo, and hopefully in the future, if he comes back up, and if his playing level comes back up, we can make a sail to Europe.
Yeah, it is a little sad. I'm sad to see him go. Just even when he wasn't on form, he always seemed to make a difference to me. He would go out there and make a difference. You knew when he was on the ball. You knew when he was making a tackle. The game felt a little bit different. So I am sad to see him go. He's a difference maker. He has trouble staying on the field. So for right now, it looks like a pretty good departure, or one we can certainly manage.
Yeah, just so we don't miss him, because Osby, that's the one thing that I still need for Osby. So I hope he has left his injuries behind.
Yeah, well, you don't have to convince me that Osby isn't completely 100% the option.
Yeah.
But the opinion of him, I have to understand and recognize that the opinion of him right now is probably as high as it's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching this Gold Cup. He looks okay. I mean, he hasn't done anything, bad that stands out. I mean, he got a starting spot in the first Gold Cup game for Mexico. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's hope that his game continues to evolve and he becomes a reliable left back player for us, so that we can freely use Tecillo in the center back role. But let's talk about this preseason, guys. We're 2-2, 2 wins, 2 losses this preseason. Leones Negros, we beat them 3-1, and then we lost against Atletico Morelia. Was it 3-1 or 3-0?
Then 3-0.
3-0.
We didn't even put in the hands to the fire, bro. Like,
and then Necaxa, another 3-0. And then the last one was San Luis 2-0. Should we be concerned about these 3-0s, guys? Defensively, are we still not there?
I mean, it's impossible to know without having seen the full 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, we only got a couple clips, and I saw a couple snippets. I think in the Necaxa game, of the goals against us, and they didn't admittedly, they didn't look good. They looked like infantile defensive breakdowns, but it's hard to. These are just for the guys to get used to playing each other and to playing a new system. I mean, I think we can't harp too much on the results themselves, and that's what the guys in. That's what Holland said. That's what pretty much everybody says, and I am inclined to agree with that. Obviously, it looks ugly. Nobody, whether it's preseason friendly, whatever, nobody wants to lose like that. It looks ugly. It's a bad look. But I also don't think we need to get overly concerned about it. My only concern would be if they carry that same attitude to the Campeones de Campeones this Sunday, or if they're not ready to play a competitive match, if they're still in preseason mode, if they're just not ready, that would be concerning. But for right now, I don't think we need to read too much into those results.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, at first it was concerning, but now that I think about it, it could go either two ways. Because we like just mentioned, we didn't get to see the live footage of the game, so we don't know. But it could either transfer over to the Campeones de Campeones or not, or they were just probably experimenting, and that's probably why it happened. But I don't know. We shall see this Sunday and see if that really reflected what happened in preseason, or if it's gonna be a whole different thing in a competitive match. Because that's the other thing. Those are friendlies. This will be the first competitive match, and I was gonna say we were missing key players, but I don't know. I don't think we might get them back because, as I recall, they are supposed to have a quarantine when they come to the U.S. So
I thought I read that they're going to be playing. Is that correct?
Are they?
Well,
I think
Was that from today or yesterday?
If this is any indication, Felipe Mora and Yimi Chara, two members of the Portland Timbers who also played in Copa America, returned to training in Portland without a quarantine.
Okay.
So I would assume that the same would apply even if they come back through Mexico, that they wouldn't need to quarantine and would be available for selection for Sunday. I hope. I don't know that for sure. I know that everybody that we expect to be available for the regular season is back in training, with the exception, obviously, of Osvi and Cota, who are with Mexico for the Gold Cup. But everybody else, I mean, Tecillo and Ormeño were photographed in their gear in training, I think today. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I was hoping we would get maybe a convocatoria for who would be available for selection for Sunday before we did this podcast. That hasn't happened yet, but I'm very curious to see that.
Speaking of players, we kept Jefecito. A lot of us thought he was going to be shipped out after the terrible, terrible season he had last season. How do we feel about keeping Jefecito? How do we feel about the number 5 role, the center defensive midfielder? Because I feel like that was one position that we kind of didn't take seriously after the departure of Pedro Aquino, and we haven't yet recovered.
And I believe it's going to be fundamental in Holland's structure, because if we go by the rumors, because there was a leak formation of what he was using, and he was playing a 4-3-3 with the one defensive midfielder. And if you're the one defensive midfielder, you have to be on your game.
Yes.
And I don't know. That hasn't been Jefecito as in the last seasons. So I don't know.
I would say this is his last chance, but I think we already said that last season was his last chance.
Yeah.
to get back to anything close to what we saw from him when he was at his peak.
Yeah, I mean, it's Grupo Pachuca. They're trying to get him back because they know at one point he was in the national team. So I don't know. Hopefully he performs, but if he doesn't perform, those counterattacks are gonna look ugly. So
Yeah, I don't know how much I trust him to be the lone central midfielder in a 4-3-3.
yeah, I mean
I don't
that is tough. He
I don't know how
couldn't do
much
it.
I trust that.
Yeah, I mean he couldn't do it when they were playing two midfielders and uh in the middle, and now it's only going to be him, and the other two are going to be rotating on the top, pretty much just attacking. So I don't know. We'll see how this
I mean,
works.
unless they're seeing something unexpected from him in preseason, maybe he's having a great preseason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, listen, we know what this guy can provide. We know what kind of player he can be. He was an elite defensive midfielder during our first championship run with Nacho Ambriz. So, I mean, I hope he found it in himself to realize that he sucked last season. That his playing level was just like really, really bad. And I hope that he took the off season to get back in shape, to get his diet straight, and to, I mean, just condition, because he looked terrible last season. So I hope he took it upon himself to do that. And I mean, like Louis said, it's maybe his last chance to prove himself.
Yeah, this is his redemption. If he need, if there ever was, he's on the top of the picking order.
Yeah.
There's only one other guy who's 17, 18 years old behind him. A lot of potential, but he's still young, really young. And if he doesn't take it right now, I don't know when he's ever going to take it.
And even then, if I had to make a lineup, if I were Holland and I had to make a lineup, obviously I haven't seen all of preseason like he has, but I would still go with Fidel Ambriz. I would trust Fidel Ambriz more than I would Jefecito right
It's
now.
close, bro, but right now, to be honest. But I'm not sure if he just went with Jefecito because of experience, but I mean, I don't know. Fidel Ambriz does not have the same experience, and even it I'm pretty sure in the games that he started, he looked just as comfortable as he's been playing there for years. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that position, because I mean, I still think it's up for grabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important, and it's up for grabs. Gigliotti, what do we think about Gigliotti staying? This is another signing that really came as a surprise. We all thought he was going back to Toluca. We didn't think he was going to stay, and then off season comes and Holland gets the contract, and somehow they negotiate a deal to keep Gigliotti on the boat.
I mean, you can see why he stayed, because after he resigned, then we got Elias. What did Gigliotti need? Someone to give him the ball.
Someone to feed him the ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
So,
but I mean, I think it was just sort of just kind of, I guess you could call it a lucky situation, a really random chance situation where the coach they brought in happens to be the coach that got the best out of Gigliotti probably in his entire career. So it just, I mean, it seemed like it was kind of fate. It may be meant to be that they give it one more go, since they brought that guy in to be the coach of the team. You know, I think if they brought in any other manager, Gigliotti wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But they brought in Holland, who specifically asked for him to stay because they had a great working relationship, at least. Like, I don't know how much they like each other as people, because there were rumors about them having kind of a rocky relationship in that sense. But they had a really they had a really fruitful and productive working relationship. So it seemed kind of like fate that they give it one more go. I think, but again, were it not for Holland, I don't think he would still be here. But now that he is still here, let's see what he's got. You know?
Yeah. If there's anyone that can squeeze the last bit of juice out of Gigliotti, it's probably Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anybody else is going to do it.
I just wondered, do we know how much we actually pay for Gigliotti? We don't, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it came out.
Because I think I'll check, but Go ahead. I
He
think he
can't
was.
possibly be worth very much at this point in his career.
I will hope not. I will hope
in
not.
terms of monetary value. Hopefully, he outplays his worth. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Let me see. Was it him that? How many years did we sign him for?
We had him on loan for a year, wasn't it?
yeah,
Right, but after when we signed him. Oh,
Oh, wow.
or
No
he
idea.
might still be. I think he might still be on loan. I think they might have just extended the loan.
I think that's what it was because
Yeah.
I believe it was like another year.
Well, we don't. What do we know? What's going to happen with Sambu? Maybe we just extended the loan on both.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, Sambu is he's not coming back, so I don't
Yeah,
think
but
we
we
really
still
need
own
to
his
talk.
card.
Hmm.
So maybe they struck a deal and said, "Hey, extend Sambu and we'll extend Gigliotti and just keep everything as is."
That would make
If
sense.
if we did,
Yeah.
I don't think it was really talked about because I don't
Yeah, it
remember.
went under the radar. I don't think the fans were happy about keeping Gigliotti, so I think they just kind of did it under the table as quickly as possible.
I think so too.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
let's get into the Campeón de Campeones talk. This Sunday in Carson, California, obviously Louis and Jose, both you guys are going to be there. What do we expect for the lineup going into Campeón de Campeones? Do we expect the internationals starting, or do we expect maybe a shuffling of the lineup?
Well, I mean, to be definitive about it, I'd have to see the convocatoria. Hopefully, they provide a list of players who will be making the trip. Because otherwise, I mean, I've been thinking this whole time. I've been going under the understanding, under the impression that none of the players selected for any of the international tournaments this summer, whether it be the Olympics, the Copa America, the Eurocopa, which doesn't affect us, or the Gold Cup, that none of those players would be available for selection. But now I'm not so sure, because everybody except for, as I mentioned, for Cota, except for Osvi, and of course Colombato, who's with the Argentina Olympic side.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only three regulars we have unavailable. Everybody else is back and training. And Tecillo started the entire Copa America. He should be in good form. Ormeño got minutes in pretty much every game that Peru played, as I think maybe in every game. He didn't start, but he should also be in rhythm. And I mean, if it were up to me, I would start those guys like easily.
If you want to win.
If you want to win. Yeah, that's the other thing. The big thing is like, how much do they want to win this? They're saying all the right things in the press conferences that, this hasn't been a regular preseason. They haven't been just training to get ready for a season. They haven't been training to get ready for Jornada Uno. They've been training to get ready for a final. Like their first commitment is a final. They're saying all the right things, like they want to win this. They're treating this as a final and they want to win it. We'll see,
But
and
even if we don't win, we still get an international tournament in Leagues Cup. So
yeah,
win or lose, obviously you want to win. You never want to lose. You want to win, bring the silverware home, and then go to the Campeones Cup. But even if you lose, that means you go to the Leagues Cup, which is still an international tournament, probably not as important or not as high status as Campeones Cup, but we're still going to be in it, and that's chance for more silverware. What do you guys prefer, Campeones Cup or Leagues Cup?
To be honest, Campeón. Wait, which one?
I mean, I prefer Campeones Cup just because
so.
I do not want to lose the Campeón de Campeones against Cruz Azul.
Yeah, I
like, so for me, like what comes after that, like, I mean, either one is fine, but if getting to Campeones Cup means that we won the Campeón de Campeones, then that's what I want.
Yeah, because that's like Luis says that it is, but to be honest, like for me, the Campeón de Campeones is the only out of the three that you just mentioned, the only that's actually official like it's under FIFA. The other ones, it's like a tournament that we did between Liga MX and MLS, but I don't think it's a really like an official under FIFA tournament.
Under
It's just-
CONCACAF for sure. Maybe
Yeah.
not under FIFA, but definitely under CONCACAF.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah, so
Um,
I think it's better that we just hopefully beat Cruz Azul and get to the campeón.
Now, obviously, Leagues Cup has a few advantages. First of all, it's potentially 3 matches as opposed to just one for all the marbles. It's 3 matches and a final played at Allegiant Field in Las Vegas. They made the announcement that the final of Leagues Cup, we always knew it was going to be in Las Vegas, but in the
Is it gonna
past,
be like what's it called, like the Las Vegas Light Fun Field?
Yeah, I had thought it was going to be at the stadium of UNLV where they played the previous final in 2019, but they made the announcement, no, it's going to be played at the home of the Raiders in Las Vegas.
Ah, okay.
So
You can go.
I mean, that
It's only
would
a
be
3-hour drive.
That would be a fun one to go to for sure.
Yeah.
If at all possible, to play a final in Las Vegas.
Jose,
But I don't want that because I want to
saving
win. I want to win the Campeones Cup, and I want to win the Campeón de Campeones, and I want to go to the Campeones Cup because that's the prize for winning the Campeón de Campeones. I don't want to go to this game on Sunday and lose. That would be awful.
Yeah. But just in case we go to the Leagues Cup, Jose, save your money so we can head on over to Las Vegas and meet Louis there and meet Javier there because he's only a few hours away from Vegas too. So
right.
Oh, he better come then. Javier better come.
Yeah.
Let's break down the lineup because we have so many options. Let's just assume that everyone is available to play. Like who gets to play? Obviously, we have Vázquez Mellado playing as a keeper, but what does our defensive line look like?
Vázquez Mellado, who we didn't even talk about as a signing.
Yeah, we did.
But
whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, just to give him his 30 seconds. I mean, I think he was a thorn in our side as playing for Juarez. Like he always made big saves against us, stole results from us. So I'm not going to say stoked. Nobody gets stoked about a backup goalkeeper, but I'm satisfied with him while Cota is not available and Poncho Blanco is hurt. I think he's a perfectly serviceable choice.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was the only first division level goalkeeper on the market anyway. So,
yeah,
good signing.
I think it's gonna be interesting. Maybe he's gonna take out Mosquera because the last lineup that we saw versus who was it? Atletico Morelia? No.
Luis.
That's San Luis. So the last lineup was Vázquez Mellado on goal, Andres Mosquera, Ramiro, Barreiro, and Avion Ramirez. So I'm guessing Mosquera was playing right back, and then Avion was probably playing left back, and then the two and center back duo was probably Ramiro and Barreiro. And from what I saw, I think what he wants to, when we're defending, he wants like 3 defenders.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. I think he's going to use Tecillo as left back because Tecillo has sort of an attacking characteristic to his game.
That's what I mean. So he's probably going to take out Mosquera and put Avion Ramirez as a right back and then maybe Tecillo on the left.
Yeah, and then keep Barreiro and Ramiro as center.
Yeah, because I think
that
como que le tiene fe a Ramiro. I don't know.
That would be my preferred deck line. Tecillo from left to right. Tecillo, Ramiro, Barreiro, and Avion.
Yeah.
Also, in this game, I don't think there will be any rule about how many foreigners can start or anything like that.
Yeah, so here we can go all out. No rules, no restraints. So, but that's gonna be interesting though, because in that last game, he actually didn't use Jefecito. So
who did he use?
I don't even know who was if there was a contención. So the only one I can think is Montes, but that's kind of weird. So
I hope not to see. I don't want to see Chapo that deep.
yeah,
I want to
so
see him more of an attacking role. So I would hope he goes with either Jefecito or Fidel in that
yeah,
central role.
the last lineup in the midfield, it was Montes, Mena, Meneses, and guessing Gigliotti all the way on top, and Davila y Elias Hernandez.
Hmm.
Like they're all attacking.
Do you think he
So-
uses Gigliotti over Ormeño?
I hope
think
not. I could see that as a possibility.
maybe
just
because he knows him already. Like
yeah, Gigliotti's he's also been in preseason training with Leon this whole time.
yeah,
whereas
and
Ormeño is.
then he hasn't really seen Ormeño that much.
Okay.
But if Ormeño makes the trip, I do think he will come on as a sub at the very least.
So we're gonna have at least two really good subs like Ormeño and Omar Fernandez.
Unless Omar Fernandez starts. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's.
So we're just basically playing without a contención.
That's what I mean. I don't know what he's going to do because in the last one there's no contención at all. So how did he even play?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I mean, unless you have all four defensive players stay back and just have everyone else attack. I don't know.
It's hard to know. It was much easier when I was thinking we wouldn't have this many options to come up with a lineup. I mean, I was not taking any seleccionado into consideration when I first thought about what lineup they would use for this game.
You got Meneses who can play on both wings and behind the striker. You got Davila who can do the same, playing behind the striker and play on the wings. Elias who now is comfortable playing on the left too when he was at Cruz Azul. I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but I have no idea.
All of a sudden it is like because these guys are in training and thing is, I don't think they would have rushed back to training if they weren't going to be taken into consideration for this Sunday.
Like, if you're not even gonna, actually start them, why have them play in the match? Like that means he knows he's gonna use it.
And I also don't see I see no reason why not to use your best lineup available for a game like this. This is not a midweek thing between two tough jornadas. I mean, this is not some meaningless friendly either. This is basically jornada 0. And you have a full week before jornada 1. And so I think I hope they go all out for this because I know Holland would love to start his Leon tenure in his winning a trophy in his first game.
Who wouldn't? I mean, that is the right way to start and get the fans to love you, pretty much.
And there's the other side to this, like Cruz Azul. How are they coming into this? How badly do they want this? What lineup are they going to use? Assumedly they'll have. I haven't heard that Cabecita has been transferred or anything, so I'm assuming they'll have him. They have a couple of key guys missing for Gold Cup, but what is their attitude going to be like? And are they going to go all out for this? And I could also see this as being a game after winning their first title in that however many years that they come out and absolutely lay an egg, which is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to be missing some key players, including Luis Romo, who's in the Olympics.
Luis Romo and Aurelien Pineda are the two main ones that are not there.
I think I think maybe at least in the midfield then it's gonna be even then because those two guys is especially Romo, he's a headache because especially I think there was one game when we played against them and they just shut us out in the midfield.
Yeah.
So if they are not there, that's great news for us.
Yeah, the only other thing I would point out is about Omar Fernandez. He started every single game for Puebla last season, so he's a starter. He's not a bench player. So I don't know if he is going to appreciate being, sit out on the bench, only to
Yeah, I
come in
don't.
as a bench player. I think I see him starting.
Yeah,
I think Elias is probably going to get the bench because he's more of a bench player. That's what he was with Cruz Azul at least.
So what's your starting front attacking line then?
I would say Meneses left wing, Mena right wing, Chapo and Omar Fernandez midfield, Gigliotti up front. And oh man, we I don't know, man. I think we're gonna use Jefecito.
So Davila doesn't start either.
Yeah, I guess Davila doesn't start either.
Like, it's an embarrassment of riches up there right now. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
who are we? Who are we? Tigres? I mean, like, nobody has that many players to choose from.
I mean, I also wouldn't be surprised if we had two strikers, right? If we used Ormeño and Gigliotti. If we're that offensive, if we're not going to use a defensive midfielder, then why not just use two strikers? We've done it before.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a good idea because they have never played one
together.
Together, and chemistry is something important when you're playing with two strikers. So and especially on a match there's a title hanging unbalanced. So no, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and go into prediction time, and let's roll the clip.
Prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time.
León versus Cruz Azul, Campeón de Campeones. Jose, you're up.
It's gonna be a close match. So honestly, like always, it's probably gonna be a 1 goal difference. I doubt it's gonna be 1-0, so it's probably gonna be at least 2-1, and I'm hoping it'll be in our favor.
2-1, Jose. Louis.
I'm gonna be a little bit more ambitious. I think 2-0. I think León wins 2-0. I think they come out firing. I think they come out with a good vibe. I think Holland really is going to want to go for this, even if the players sometimes lay eggs in these types of games. I think Holland is really, really going to want this, and I think he's going to motivate his guys enough to go out and get a really, really good result. I think Cruz Azul, I mean, they're going to be on a championship hangover, and they're also going to be missing 2 key guys in their midfield. So, yeah, I think León goes out and gets the job done. Not convincingly, but contundentemente. And 2-0. I think also, if I was remembering correctly, I was reading up on this. So in the Campeones de Campeones, as it is currently played, a one-off in Los Angeles, the Apertura champion has won the last 4. So 2016 through 2019, the last 4 that were played were won by the Apertura champion, not the Clausura champion. So that's a little bit of pressure on León, I think.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
I doubt the players know, though. I don't think they look up.
Probably not. Well, unless they listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
But.
Cool. I'm going to go with a 2-0 as well. I think we're going to score early in the first half sometime. And then second half, Cruz Azul is going to have to push up to try to get the draw. And that's where we'll find spaces with our counterattack. And I think Omar Fernandez is going to score the second one. And we're going to raise
whether he'd started or came on as a sub.
Yeah. Cool. So 2-0, 2-0, and 2-1. We're all predicting a León win this Sunday in Carson. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. Guys, anything else that we want to say before we sign off?
No, I mean, I can't wait for the game on Sunday. Hopefully,
Wish you were going to be there, Carlos.
it will be unlike last time, and we'll come out with the win. All the Leon fans will be happy and cheering on their way out. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping for the best.
hope so too.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. So everyone who was listening, make sure to follow us on our socials, the Lions Den Podcast on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, Twitter. This is season 3, episode 1 of the Lions Den Podcast. We're going to be potting all season, after and before every match. Make sure to tune in. We appreciate everyone. Angel, Jonathan, he was the only one in our chat today. And everyone who's watching and or listening, thank you guys for tuning in. Guys, we're signing off. See you guys next week for the preview of the Liga MX opening day for Leon. Good night, guys.
Later.